question from Matt.
It's going to turn into a bit of a witch hunt, but and it doesn't meant to be, by the way. It says on your flyer that you want an SU beer garden. Right? Not quite sure what that's got to do with education, and if anything, wouldn't that disturb education? A, where are you going to put the beer garden? B, and if you're on about putting it outside the union, isn't that going to disturb people in the lessons and classes?
Okay, I kind of expected that would come up when I made my manifesto. However, before I wrote it down, I was pretty certain on my opinions to do with a beer garden. Alright, I've sort of called it a beer garden. It's not so much a beer garden, it's a social space. It doesn't have to be for drinking beer. You know, I think having the opportunity for people to congregate, not just inside the student union, especially when it's on a hot day, when it's sat in the bar, having an outside space will give the opportunity for people to come and relax when it's hot, hopefully, when the summer comes. And another point I'd like to make is that there's already a campaign going on for a grassy area in the car park, which, although I don't know the ins and outs of it, from where I'm coming from, I feel that could inconvenience a lot of staff at the university who use the car park. So in terms of whether it would inconvenience people at university having a 4x4 metre space at the side of the Students' Union that will be open only at night time when there are no lecturers or students in the offices upstairs, cannot in my mind implement or affect anybody's experience at university.
Okay, right. Couple of questions tweeted in, so we're going to ask those. We've just about got time. There's one here to the SURUS slate, so it's you again, Rick, I'm afraid. What expertise does the Name to Make Their Click, Look and Listen campaign a successful one? What expertise do you have? I think that's supposed to say.
Okay, that'll be directed at Matt Gabrielli, who's running for communications. In his manifesto he states that he's struggled during his time at university to have the paper readily available, and obviously, as you know, a lot of people, I mean, I like the Student Union newspaper, I'm not going to slate it. I do think that a lot of people do not read it, and a lot of the newspapers you get ordered and delivered do end up in the recycling bin, hopefully, not just thrown in the normal rubbish. And I think his campaign, it's kind of has a witty sense to it. It's click, look and listen. It's easy for people to react to, and it states in 3 words exactly what a Students' Union communications officer can provide for everybody on campus.
Okay, second question was again to Rick, but it's asking what his policies are on the education side of the role. I think we've answered that already. And it's also time up for the education candidates. So if we can have a big round of applause. Okay, the next position to come up on stage is VP Student Activities. Have we got Hayden Tankstead? Do we have Bilal Hussein? No. And do we have Kieran Ellsby? Okay, so we'll start with Kieran, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
I'm Kieran, I'm running for Student Activities. As you can see alongside Tank, we're taking it seriously, that's why we're here. On the main thing that I want to do, I want to increase participation in all activities and sports. I think there's such a great university, it's underpopulated and undersubscribed to, and people need to be aware of what's available and what they can do, so I'm going to do that. And also, people representing our university don't have the facilities that back up their needs and ambition. All I want to do is support them and do that.
Hi everyone, I'm Tank, I'm rerunning to be your VP, Student Activities last year at Sports and Societies. The reasons I'm running are the fact that I know what I'm doing in this job, I've done it for a year, I've got the experience, I've got the plan for next year of how we can increase student activities at this university, and that's where I want to continue to do the good work we've done this year, keep improving so we have good groundwork and we can keep building on progress.
Right, moving on to your set questions, and this time we'll start with Tank. Would you rather be water soluble or evaporate in the heat, and why?
I think I'd like to be water soluble, be like a Pro Plus or something, give me a bit of energy in the morning, or can be washed away quite easily. I don't think I don't think you'll be breathing me in if I evaporate. I think I'll be a bit weird.
Absolutely random question, but I think I'd rather evaporate in the heat, because when I'm on holiday with my girlfriend and it gets too hot, she loves everywhere hot. The last thing I want to do is go around the swimming pool sweating away, so I'd just rather evaporate and hopefully rain back in a bar somewhere, you know.
Okay, so on to the role-related questions. If cuts in higher education funding lead to delays in planned investment in sports facilities at the university, how would you deal with increasing participation in student activities?
I had a meeting start this week with Alan Johnson, who runs sports facilities at this university, and it was something I discussed, because a lot of the argument with university is about the sports hall, but I think we need to look at different areas. We've got coaches, we've got other facilities. We need to look at, if we're not going to get a new sports hall, which I'm hoping we will, we need to improve the areas we can, give coaches some more support, give them plans, and also the sports and societies teams, make sure they're doing plans for the next 3 years, not just living on year, so that they know where they're going and they can increase their membership by telling their members where we're going to be in 6 months, where we're going to be in a year and a half, where we're going to be in 2 years.
What I do think the sports, and it doesn't revolve around money all the time, and that's the main thing. There's lots of things that we've done that's encouraging people to take up coaching badges. There's lots of untapped resources around here, namely the Giants and of course the Terriers, who will provide coaching and all that. And in that it returns back people that are interested to go for the sports and activities and teams and societies, because they're getting the best training, they're improving themselves all the time. So it's not about money necessarily, it's all about increasing people's participation and the quality of how they do it, really.
Okay, and your final precinct question. What new sport or society would you like to see set up, and why?
For me, the best society I like, I mean, there's plenty out there, but I'm not there to decide what's new. I'm there to listen to people, and I'll be more listen to the public, the voters, and of course the students, and they come and tell me what they like, and if it's viable, if it's going to be worthwhile, and people can get a lot out of it, I'll listen to them. That's the main thing for me.
That is a very good answer. I'd like to see a hurling team. Not hurling, the one with the ice. I was watching like 2 AM on the Winter Olympics, it looks awesome. So, yeah, everything you want to do as well, guys, but I want to play a bit of curling.
Okay, so again, we're on to the open floor questions now. Hands up. Matt?
I understand it's a 3-horse race. Just got a question for the third member who isn't here. Why isn't he here? I just want to point that out. I mean, it sounds a bit harsh.
He's in Halifax. I think that's well pointed out. It's pretty obvious.
Okay. Sam?
Yeah, I'm not fully aware if there's any societies that use a swimming pool at all, or any kind of event that does that. Is there any way of increasing the use of the local swimming pool for societies? I don't know if they already do, or if there's any way of getting a swimming pool on campus. I don't know if it's your job or not, but I just wondered. Who's it?
The best thing to do is to go and speak to the council, get their facilities, use them, and then utilise them, and then obviously find a need for a swimming pool. Try and set up a society. Is it more like competition swimming, or is it just more like fun swimming? Try and make both of them, expand them, speak to people, and try and make it happen. That's the best thing I could say.
A swimming pool on campus, you're very unlikely because there's one in town, and the cost of actually upkeeping one would just cripple the small sports budget we have in this place. Also, we have a problem with the council is they want to use it when they can, so they can charge local people as much as humanly possible. So, because they're actually losing money on all their sports facilities. But we can look at when if people want to use it, if people want to create a swimming pool team, club, books team, we can look at using it when we can. But there is barriers, and it is something we're fighting on constantly up here in the I-Zone to make sure we have the best facilities humanly possible. But sometimes, without owning your own, it is an uphill struggle.